Good morning, friends, and welcome to day 28 of our virtual field trips. My name is Chris. I'm here at the grist mill, and I have a delivery. Well, not exactly a delivery, more of an exciting package. So, what I have inside this box right now, let's see, are some of our chicks. These are chicks that you've met before. We saw them first when they were still in the egg, and then a little while later we saw them again just after they'd hatched. So I'm very excited that in a couple of weeks, these guys are going to have a new home. Now, what we're doing right now is we're taking them up to the new home and just introducing them to it, give them a chance to look around a little bit. There's a lot of work still to do on it before it's ready, but that's okay. Still give them a chance to explore a little bit, get a sense of the place, and then we can start the real work of getting their new home ready to go. So, where we're going is back there, our chicken coop. It hasn't actually had any chicks in it in a while. Hasn't any chickens in it in a couple of years. So, it needs some work. We decided that the old coop that we were using before just isn't going to be suitable anymore. It's pretty run down. It's time for nicer digs. But that's okay. So, anyways, another sneak peek at our dudes. Hi guys, how you doing in there? Good. So we're gonna take them up to our coop. Now, the coop is, let me see if I can do this. Oh my goodness, it's hard to hold a box and control a camera at the same time. Whoop, here we go. So, our chicken coop right now is absolutely positively full of weeds. There's so much good chicken manure in there from the last couple of years. We've got to clean all this out before they get to live in here. But in the meantime, there's a perch. There's sunshade. There are some nice feeders off in the corner. It's still going to take a lot of work to get this up for them, but that's okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close the door behind me because I don't want them escaping. I'm going to put the box down on the ground here and say hello again. Hello again. And we are going to let these guys right here do a little exploring, which is going to be pretty exciting for them. Now, the one thing that was really important is I've checked for hazards. There's no hazards in here for them. Nothing, no real trouble they can get into, no holes that they could get stuck in. There's no predators in here. There's nothing they shouldn't eat. So, it's fine for them, at least for a little bit of outside time. Now, we want to get these chicks used to being outside before we just drop them in this coop. They've been used to being in a very small wooden box with a heat lamp in it, and not a lot to do other than feed and drink and squawk at each other. So this is going to be sensory overload for them as they get to explore this space for the first time. So why don't we just say, hi guys, how's it going? Oh, they know something's up. They don't know what, but they know something's up. So let's just tip this box this way and see what happens. Now I'm not going to force them out. They can go out on their own. You guys want to take a little look around? I know, it's big, and it's probably got strange noises. And the temperature's different. And yeah, we don't want to leave these guys out for too long because, of course, they'd get chilled. They need a heat lamp. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to step back from the box. Let these guys do their own thing when they're ready. Maybe they'll be more likely to do it when I'm not in there. And we'll see what happens. Now, while they're taking a minute to adjust and do their own thing, we do have, of course, some of the supplies that we need to get this set up perfectly for them. We got to get rid of some of those weeds. That's too much for them. A little bit's okay, but if they start eating too much grass or weeds, it'll really upset their stomachs. So we're going to trim that down. We got to clean everything really carefully. We've got to install a heat lamp. It's really important, especially as they're still developing their feathers. They get cold pretty quick. They're still used to hiding under mom or being close to mom for warmth when they need it. So for us to be able to simulate that, we've got to give them a heat lamp that they can always crowd to if they find that that it's too cold. Now, other things that we've got here are things like, oops, that's not what I wanted to push, because you don't need to see me as some weird animated thing. We've got some water dishes, we've got some scratch dishes, we've got all sorts of other things that we'll find useful when the time comes. But you can see we've got a lot of weed eating, a lot of tidying up to do. I actually want to redo the mesh on the roof, and the actual structure that was used to be for the chicks. It's done now, so we're actually going to finish converting this into their new home. So we'll get a roof on it, we'll get walls on it, we'll make it nice and comfy for them on the inside, and then they'll have a really nice, secure place to call home. Now, taking a little look back at our guys, let's see here. They are, let's see here, oops. Let's see if I can focus in on them. They're still hanging out at the edge of the box. They're still not quite sure. This is a big, scary new world for them. Still pretty neat. This is the first time they've seen the outside. It's the first time that they've had a chance to breathe lots of fresh air, because we've got the box inside so that they wouldn't get too cold. But now it's time to start to get them used to this. Now, there's lots of different ways of doing this. Some people will set up a little pen out on the lawn and let them roam around for a little bit. Some people, if they've already got chickens, have ways of transitioning them into a coop with established chickens. Got to be careful, because they look a little too exciting, like maybe food at the beginning for some. So you want to be careful with the pecking order if you're introducing them. But these guys get the house all to themselves. This is going to be their teenage bachelor pad. You can just imagine 6 teenagers living together. I think they're going to have a great time. So let's go back into the coop and take another little look here. Hi, guys. Now, one of the things I noticed right away is that they respond to my voice, which is really good. I've been talking to them a lot. I want them to know who I am. Hi. You guys all crowded in there? You guys can come out. I don't really want to force you. Here, let's just give it a little tip. See what happens when they... Oh. There you guys go. Now what? Now what? Now what are you guys going to do, huh? Are you guys going to explore? Or are you just going to stay in exactly the same place as you were? Cheep, cheep. Hi. So what do you think? They're just not sure. We'll give them a few minutes, and if they don't settle down, if they don't calm down and get excited about looking around, we can always put them back in the box and take them back to their current home, which is the brooding box that they're in. But these guys are going to have to make room soon, because there's more chicks coming. There's a whole other hatch coming, and they need that brooding box, and I don't want to put those little tiny fluffy chicks in with these teenagers with attitudes, because that wouldn't be good for anybody. So we'll see. Now, I am starting just barely to see some looking around behavior, especially that white one in the back there. He's checking things out. I noticed a peck or two at the ground too. That's always exciting. But mostly they're just being pretty still. So hello and good morning and welcome to Chick TV. Now you are just hanging out in there, and that's cool too, right? Somebody pooped. Somebody got a little too excited. That's okay. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting little bit. The next round of chicks that we've got coming that are in the incubator right now are actually a mix of chicken eggs and duck eggs. So we'll actually have some baby ducklings, hopefully. That'll make it really important to have a nice eventually deep water dish available so that they can bathe themselves. Ducks like water. There are some kinds of ducks, like the kind that we have, Indian runners, that don't need access to a big pool of water to swim around in. They just need a little bit every once in a while to preen themselves. So they'll have that in the coop, and they get along just fine with the chicks, especially since they're basically going to grow up together. Now, if you're ever thinking about raising your own chicks or chickens, make sure you get really good resources. It's really important, if you're taking care of any kind of animal, to do it properly, to be a responsible owner. And so there's lots of books out there. We have 3 or 4, books. And again, I understand things look backwards. I apologize for that. This one's called Hen Keeping, and it must be good because it's written by a guy named Mike Hatcher. That's a pretty awesome name. A real classic book, one of the most popular, are the Story series, Story with an EY. This is an older version. There's newer versions that come out all the time. They'll tell you how to hatch eggs out, how to take care of chickens for laying, how to take chickens if you want meat birds, how to show them. The newest edition of this has a really nice section on how to raise show birds if you want to show off your chickens at various agricultural shows. And then we have one more called Chicken Tractor, and it's chickens can be really, really good at helping your soil, not only because they provide excellent manure, but also because they're really good at scratching up the surface, seeking and destroying bugs. The downside is that they also love small plants, and their scratching behavior will actually cause a lot of problems in a young, fresh garden because they'll just decimate it. That's why you're starting to see more and more wineries in our area starting to use ducks, like the runner ducks that we're going to be raising, to do pest control in their orchards, because they don't dig. They aren't interested in the plants. They ignore the plants completely. They just go straight for the slugs and the snails and the beetles and the bugs, and they eat them all up. And it's nothing funnier than watching a whole, massive flock of ducks running around inside a vineyard. So, an interesting way of doing pest control. Anyways, I'm going to leave these guys for another 15-20 minutes or so. Hopefully they get a chance to at least start to explore a little bit. And then after that, we'll take them back down to the brooding box, which they'll probably, now that they've got a taste of outside, they'll probably get pretty bored of it pretty fast. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see them now trying to fly out of their brooding box. It's just tall enough probably to keep them in, but that doesn't mean they won't be ambitious and try and escape now they've had a taste of freedom. So we'll start navigating that transition for them and get them out here as quick as we can. Just got to get the work done first. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a spectacular day wherever you are. It's much cooler today than it's been, which is good because all the river levels have come way up in the last couple of days. It doesn't look like we're going to have serious flooding problems, but it's always exciting when the river and the creek look a lot higher than they usually do. Anyways, you guys take care of yourselves. If you haven't already, please consider buying a season's pass. We could really use the support. Otherwise, spread the word about these videos, and we will see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. again. Bye-bye for now, guys.